Hi, welcome to the River Region Obesity Task Force Changetool survey. That's a whole lot of words for one simple goal. We want to know more about what you think are the obstacles to better health and wellness in your community. First, you'll be asked some basic questions about yourself and where you live. Your identity is strictly anonymous. We will not find out who you are unless you elect to tell us. After we get the basic info, we'll ask you about policies and environmental factors that you feel are impacting health and wellness. The more information we have, the better. The data can help leaders make changes for improved health, so invite other people to take this survey too. Thanks for your help. Okay, thanks for telling us about yourself. Now we want to know about the conditions where you live. We have multiple choice questions about policies in your community. For example, laws or regulations that make restaurants list calories on their menus or require new neighborhoods to be built with sidewalks. We also want to know about environmental conditions. For example, are there healthy food choices where you work? Is the attitude in your community changing when it comes to laws about smoking? Or are there economic conditions that make it more expensive to engage in unhealthy activities like higher health insurance costs for people who use tobacco? Here's how to answer the policy and environment questions. The explanation video is accessible for every question. There are 6 possible answers for the multiple choice questions about policy and environment. 1 through 5 describe the extent of a policy or an environmental concern, while choosing 99 means the issue does not apply to your community. For our example, we will refer to a requirement to build sidewalks in all developments. For the policy portion, choose number 1 if an issue has not been identified as a problem. For example, government leaders have never discussed a sidewalk policy and there have been no complaints raised by residents. Choose number 2 if an issue has been identified as a problem. For our example, elected officials begin to explore adopting a sidewalk policy after people complain about not being able to walk safely in their neighborhood. Choose number 3 if a policy has been formed. For example, officials have drafted and passed a policy to build sidewalks in development, but the policy has not yet gone into effect. Choose number 4 if a policy has been put into effect. For our example, when new developments are built, sidewalks are being installed or sidewalks are being added to existing developments. For example, the sidewalk policy has been operational for a year and leaders want to give it more funding or have stiffer penalties for violators. Choose number 99 if a policy is not appropriate for your community. For example, building sidewalks in rural areas. For the environmental answers, choose number 1 if there is nothing in place for a topic. For our sidewalk example, there are no fully accessible sidewalks, including for use by people in wheelchairs, no appropriate lighting, no stoplights, and there are no crosswalks. Choose number 2 if there are only a few elements present or only partial development. For our example, there are sidewalks, but there isn't any lighting, no stoplights, and no crosswalks. Choose number 3 if by your judgment there are some elements in place for the environment. For example, there are sidewalks and they are lit appropriately, but there are no stoplights and no crosswalks. Choose number 4 if you feel most elements are in place. For example, there are sidewalks with appropriate lighting and stoplights at intersections, but there are no crosswalks. Choose number 5 if all of the elements are in place for health and wellness. There are fully accessible sidewalks with appropriate lighting and stoplights and crosswalks at intersections. Choose number 99 if an environmental change is not appropriate for your community. Thanks for completing the River Region Obesity Task Force Changetool survey. Your answers are very important and could go a long way toward better health and wellness in your community. Please follow us on social media, visit our website, and sign up for our e-newsletter. We would like to thank the Wellness Coalition, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services REACH grant, and the City of Montgomery for making this Change survey possible. Here's to your health.